Please.
Can you hear us now?
Right.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, so the question is, what was your name, sir?
Bill Hutchins, 502 Main Drive.
Okay, the question was there going to be any discussion tonight on the gated situation for the road? And tonight we are not discussing that. But in the November meeting, we will be discussing it a little. And then in the December meeting, we will also open that up for discussion. Anybody else in the room? Yes, sir.
Kerry Newman, 753 West Forest Lakes Drive, very long time resident. I am glad to see so much community engagement. And it took the last board meeting to get that. Now, after the last election, there was a promise from the board for transparency from the board and also from Metro District. And being a longtime resident here, I would have to say that Metro District has always done a very good job of addressing the needs of the community from an infrastructure standpoint. Have no issue whatsoever with that. I know there are a lot of challenges involved with that, and our current Metro District staff is doing an exceptional job considering the challenges that have and the age of the systems that they have to deal with. But I am especially grateful that we now have community engagement that we have never seen before, for people to add their voices to the conversation, whether it be here in this room, online, or on Facebook. And the public square on Facebook is a big problem.
Thank you, Kerry. Yes, sir.
Right here.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm BC Weisup. I live at 19 Mesa Drive.
Okay.
My only thing is when you guys schedule things, right? I don't got a computer at all. So I don't know when you guys are doing it. The only way I got here is I went to check the mail today. Somebody put a sign up saying you were having a meeting. I was wondering, do they put a like a community posting over there? I don't know if everybody in the neighborhood is, you know, aware of how to find these, what they're about.
Go ahead.
So we post it online. We also post it on the bulletin board outside the office here, and we also post it
Oh,
over
there
at
is
the post.
one. I mean, I didn't know there was one inside here.
It's on the outside of the building, right at the front door, and then we also post it across the street.
Yeah, I just saw that one over there by the mailbox. That's how I knew about it.
Yeah.
And in addition, we have the regular meetings that are scheduled every
Third
third
Tuesday.
Tuesday at 6. 5.
There are times when we have to schedule a meeting and it's 24-hour notice is what we have. So, yeah. So that was why this one was. Anything else?
Not until the next meeting.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody? Yes.
Matt Milam, 1.5 Mountain Oak Drive. I was wondering about the trash hours. I know there's been a discussion on Facebook and stuff, but my predicament, my example, one car family, wife works in Aztec. She leaves by 6:15 at the latest, gets home usually around 5:30. Monday, I was gonna go take a trash run and piling up, then open till 6:30, something like that, whatever it is. I told her leave the truck running. I'm just gonna load up and go. Went down there and I was like, oh crap, they changed the hours, right? I know it's open Saturdays, but I travel a lot for work, so sometimes I'm coming back Saturdays. So I've got Sunday I'm sitting around, right?
Let's go over this.
And I appreciate the response. I get the work-life balance thing. But at the same time, paying dues into this and then, not being able to use it because the hours now have changed in the winter. Is there any consideration to, rotating shift? One guy a week, Sundays, half day or whatever, or we go back to Mondays, 6 o'clock. Again, one person a week takes that, switches it, you still get your life work balance. But it serves not only my need, but from the responses I saw, a lot of people's needs.
And it is added to the agenda for discussion on Tuesday's meeting.
Thank you.
So there'll be a more in-depth conversation about it then.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room? No? Okay, anybody online, if you would like to raise your hand, if you don't know how to do that, there's a little icon to raise your hand if you'd like to speak.
I don't see the icon.
Okay, Robin,
We got you, so.
yeah, please
So my address,
state your full name and your address.
you got it. My name is Robin Kissel. My address is 240 Little Bear Drive. I too want to compliment our administration. I think our directors and employees are doing a fabulous job. But I also want to voice my disappointment in the board, at least a couple of members, for their self-serving and betterment of their own property without regard to the cost and impact to the rest of Forest Lakes. I feel that strongly about it, that I myself, and I encourage all of residents in Forest Lakes to turn a letter of interest in hopes that maybe a couple of the board members will remove themselves. I, for one, will put a letter in of interest of being on the board again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Anyone else?
I cannot find the icon for a hand raise. It was there last time.
Go ahead,
My name
Denise.
is Denise Newman. I live at 753 Forest Lakes Drive. I've been here 29 years and 6 months. And I would have to say what Robin had to say is kind of not true, because there have been many issues that we have complained to Forest Lakes Metro District and board members when we could attend board meetings. And our issues are always pushed under the rug. And this is a very serious issue. Yeah, it affects a small amount of people, but it's a very serious issue. And to blast it on Facebook the way that it was really incorrect. And there was a lot of inaccurate information. And I would highly advise the board, Forest Lakes Metro District, to write up a easy to read history regarding this road and that intersection at Mesa Drive and West Forest Lakes Drive, because it is a very dangerous road. Nobody yields at Mesa Drive. It's steep and they come around a blind curve and they run into my property. And I know Corey Griffiths knows this, and I'm done. After being here for this long, and you guys knew that this area was going to grow, and you didn't do anything to think about traffic management, any kind of traffic diversion, or, not opening roads versus opening roads, etc. I mean, because it has been documented, the majority of traffic comes down this road. We are not the wider road in this subdivision, A, and B. All these people now have it in their head that this is the way to go. And we are the ones being punished. We are the ones being punished. And what is it off of anybody's back to go another way? I mean, we're not asking for everybody to go the other way. We are asking for part of the traffic to go another way, so we don't have 700 vehicles going by our homes every day, and some of the traffic going the other way. And we're still going to have traffic. We're still going to have the majority of the traffic of most of Forest Lakes than the other road. So, I do not appreciate the previous board member stating what she did, because she was one of the people I spoke to regarding how it was hard to back out of my driveway, and gave me a kind of a rude comment about it. So don't appreciate it.
Thank you, Denise. Anyone else?
Raising our hand too.
Yes, we've got someone
My
here.
name is Belinda Wysa, and I live at 19 Mesa Drive. And honestly,
Does she wanna come in here and say?
it infuriates me just a little bit hearing people go on about how traffic. Where we're at, and Corey knows, we've sent him emails before, when the speed bumps first went out. People around that corner coming down Loop, as they turn onto Mesa Drive, and have literally slid down into our driveway. We've had to put our fence back further to keep them from hitting it. And we made a joke that we were gonna sit up at the road in lounge chairs and count the number of cars going by our house. So, okay, maybe that little section gets a whole lot of cars, maybe they do. They have no idea how many cars we get every day. So to just single out one little area that you're gonna gate off, where you're cutting Mesa Drive in half, and you're not taking into aspect of how much traffic everybody else has. So it irritates me when people go, oh, I have so much traffic. Man, you don't have any idea how much traffic is until you sit up there on Loop Road and you witness not only the dump trucks and the diesel trucks and the cars and everything that comes down that road. So I just wanted to tell you, because it irritates me when I hear it.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Can you state your name and your address, please?
I did. Belinda Wysa, 19 Mesa Drive.
Great, thank you. Anyone else out there have anything to say?
And Agnes for Meadowbrook, right? I support everybody else here against the gate committee. I look forward to next month's meeting about this. Because as we propose additional gating for our community, people cannot seem to adhere to stop signs. And I'm right on the corner of Meadowbrook and San Moritz. I've got plenty of license plates that I've given to law enforcement before. And if we're gonna propose gating up communities, then let's start gating up people that cannot stop at stop signs.
Thank you. Anybody else online?
I would like to.
Doug, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Doug Savage. I live at 396 Pine Valley Road. That's just west of Pine Top. Okay, just for a little history for people that may not have lived here very long. When I moved here, I bought a home that was not on the Loop Road. The exit at 501 was an emergency exit. There was a gate on it with a padlock, and the residence combination is 0911. So if there's an emergency, you can open the gate. I did not buy a house on Loop Road on purpose. The only traffic I had was my 20 neighbors just to the west of me. Okay, when that entrance was opened, my traffic doubled, probably 30-fold or more. People come down through there at 40 miles an hour or more. It's affected my property value tremendously. Making a change like you're proposing to do this will put even more traffic and more dust and more accidents on my road. Loop Road was designated as Loop Road for a reason. And when people bought here, they bought here accordingly. I did not buy on a thoroughfare. And unfortunately, I live with it now. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your interest in listening to us.
Thank you, Doug. Anyone else online?
Hi, my name is Sarah Phillips. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I live at 195 Pinecone Drive, and I just want to make sure that we are all going to get to speak about the gate, but just clarifying that that's going to happen next week.
Yes, we're gonna have a short discussion Tuesday.
Okay.
Regarding this subject, and then in the December meeting, we will have more discussion.
Okay. So be there at the Tuesday meeting to discuss this further.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. Anyone else online?
Hi, yeah, my name's Leah Hale. I live at 386 Forest Lakes Drive, and I just wanted to also ask a question. When we talk about that loop road is designed to be the main road, is the other part of Forest Lakes, so like Forest Lakes Drive's the main drag up the big hill, is that considered part of the loop road?
Here for you both.
Uh, hang on one second. And,
Came around.
Leah.
Property.
let me get the district manager back in here.
But, you know, what they,
Can we talk about
yeah,
it
can I talk to
later?
you about it later?
Yeah,
Okay. She has Forest Lakes Drive.
sorry, I was getting a chair.
Eyes up, so yeah.
Leah's got a question for you.
What we got?
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask a clarifying question about some of the roads. Forest Lakes Drive, the main drag that goes up the hill and connects to Loop Road, is it considered part of Loop Road? Is it considered the thoroughfare road?
Yes, so, Forest Lakes that heads up and connects to, Pine Drive, the loop road is the main thoroughfare as well as, Alpine Forest. That makes sense?
Okay,
The one-
so the thoroughway roads are Alpine Forest and Forest Lakes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
East Forest Lakes, thanks.
Yeah, the clarification was East Forest Lakes because for some reason they named two Forest Lakes. So East Forest Lakes is the main road. Thank you, Lee. Anybody else online?
Hi, it's Jennifer Boykin. I'm up on Hillside Drive.
Go ahead. We can't hear you. I don't know if you're on mute.
I was just letting you know I was on the call.
Okay, anybody else online?
Hi, this is Molly Morris at 310 Meadowbrook Drive, and we got on a little bit late because we were just getting home, but I thought this meeting I wasn't sure what this meeting was for, but I'm curious if you can outline, maybe put in the chat too for everybody else, or somehow post if this is being discussed in the next meeting or the December meeting, and then when it's being voted on, like the gate issue.
So with the gate issue, what's happening, Tuesday is what's considered a revisitation or a reconsideration hearing. So there'll be a motion made to go into the hearing. And it'll be ran just like a public hearing where, the board members requesting it to be, for the matter to be reconsidered, present their case, and then there'll be a small portion for public comments, and then the president will either approve or deny the request for it to be reconsidered on such and such date. So
Molly, you still have like 5 minutes of your own time for a non-agenda item if you want to talk about it now, or it's still your public time.
I was just curious. I mean, I thought that's what this meeting was. The agenda just sounded like it because of the conflict of interest information in there. But yeah, I just wanted to hear what everybody, like why you guys wanted to do it, and then discuss it. And I'm hoping it's still available for a vote. So I look forward to hearing back about when that vote takes place too. But it sounds like next Tuesday is the 18th, correct? I think that's the date, right?
Next week is the 18th. It's considered a reconsideration hearing for board member Stephanie Balsey, who asked to have it reconsidered. And we're going to look at it then. From that, we will decide whether or not it goes into the December meeting as a discussion based on the information next week.
Okay. 'Cause
It's a two-step process.
I was hearing from neighbors that it was a done deal, like the decision had already been made. So we residents have a say in it, right? Is that how the reconsideration process works, or what does that look like?
The reason why reconsideration hearing is, a motion was made and passed. We have
Corey,
a voice-
sorry, Corey, for some reason I can't understand you at all. I could understand the other speakers, but I don't know if you're mic'd differently or something, but I can't hear anything. Like it's just jumbled.
Is that better?
Let's give it a go.
So the process behind this is, last board meeting, the board voted, it made a motion and voted and it passed. Director Ballsley, has asked for it to be reconsidered. So now we have to go through what's called a reconsideration hearing to reopen a matter that's already been, voted on. So that's what's happening in November. The case will be presented on why it needs to be reopened again, and then the board president will either approve it to be reconsidered on such and such date, which could be at the same meeting or a different meeting, or she can choose to deny it. So that's what this whole process is, because it was already voted on in our last meeting, so now we have to go through the legal process of opening up the matter that's already been voted on.
Okay, if that's somewhat clear, I guess I'll just stay tuned, like come to next meeting and then figure out how, it just sounds like there's a lot of feedback to be heard. And if people are not in favor of the vote and it's the majority that does not want it, then I hope that that's going to be heard.
If you want, Molly, you can get my email off online from the district site. I can explain it. I can talk to you if you need to, or whatever, just to try to get as clear as possible.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to need some information because there's a lot of talk about it on the Facebook group, and I think everybody has an opinion about it. So definitely, I would address the whole neighborhood, make sure we all understand what that process is.
Yeah, one thing that I had thought about today was an FAQ on all of this, so all the residents know and have good information and not misinformation. Have an FAQ that can be posted out there, what's happening, everything. We've been transparent and it's all in the recorded meeting. So this might help if it's spelled out and you don't have to listen to a 2.5-hour meeting. So Corey's gonna be back Monday and maybe he and I can work on that sometime next week.
And maybe have it a bigger location so that more of us can show up in person, just because the Zoom seems like it's a little hard. The audio is better though, Corey, whatever you just did. But one of my neighbors just texted too and said, ask if we can have a bigger space. So that might be helpful. And then my husband, I think, wants to say something.
Hi, Josh Morris, same residence, same address. I think a lot of us are pretty busy with our lives, working and living, that we're not that in tune with all the meetings. And this gate issue really kind of brought to our attention, like, wow, apparently we got to pay attention, because the FAQs will be interesting, but I can't imagine what you're going to pull out of these FAQs that make gating off a section of Forest Lakes a good idea. Like, it's absurd from where I'm sitting. And a lot of us, I travel a lot for work. I come back here. It'd be nice to assume that our board members are just looking out for our best interests, making sure we got snow plows, drainage, all that stuff. But this is a little radical. So this has really put you guys under the radar. So I don't know, man. Yeah, a lot of us miss meetings, busy with life, but now we're looking at you guys.
Thank you. Renee? Renee, did you have your hand raised? Oh, thank you.
I think she can just unmute herself if she's listening.
I'm here. If you're
Okay.
talking about Renee Beauregard,
Renee Salm? She's got her hand raised. Maybe she didn't mean to. Maybe we can come back. Renee, the other Renee, did you have something to say?
I have a lot to say, but I'm not gonna say it.
All right, thank you. Anybody else online? No? Okay, we're going to go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Cody Cartwright and I live at 202 Hillside Circle. By and large, I'm not directly affected by the state situation. I did watch the last board meeting and I'm highly disappointed on how it went down. That was unprofessional and unbecoming of you as board members. Period. Y'all claimed transparency, but there was zero transparency on how that went down and how that decision was made. That's my piece.
Okay, thank you. Was there somebody else online?
I think Renee Stone.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I live at 802 Forest Lakes Drive. They don't understand what type of traffic is on here. I don't know if they know how much traffic that comes up our road and down our road and how dangerous it is. Maybe they don't realize how dangerous it is for us and for the people that live in Forest Lakes Drive. Maybe they just don't quite understand it, I guess, because they don't live it like we do. That's all I have to say. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Renee. Rosemary, did you have something?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Dutch Pfeiffer. My partner is Rosemary. We are property owners in Units 3, and having owned property in Unit 3 for over 25 years, I know the covenants inside and out for all the units.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, go
Excuse me?
ahead. Go ahead.
According to what we did in 2005, et cetera, we were entitled to gate Unit 3 as property owners. But we did not do that and we voted against it. Our board of directors voted against it because we did not want to, basically, we didn't want to dissuade people from enjoying Unit 3 the way we enjoy it. Now, my question is, if you were to gate a section of Unit 3, Forest Lakes, what will that do for potential fire evacuation? What will that do for access to deliveries, UPS, whatever? Now, I understand people are concerned for their children, but those same people can build fences. And that's about all I have to say at the moment. Thank you.
What was your address up there, sir?
239 Pine Crest Drive
Thank you, sir.
is the first lot that I bought. We own 6 lots.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else online?
My name is Carol Cardwell. I'm at 566 Deer Ridge Drive. And 2 things briefly, when you do the memo, the memorandum that you were talking about, will you please post it on the Metro District website as well, so everyone has simple access to that information? And 2, I wanted to second what the gentleman before me said. Those are my concerns. What's going to happen with snow plowing? What's going to happen with delivery driving? I've been a resident for 24 years. I've been in the area. I mean, when I was 40 years ago, I was cleaning the cabins where the Metro District now sits. But so I've seen the growth in Forest Lakes is my point. And there's growth everywhere. I look at just Forest Lakes Drive and Mesa Drive and how many houses on those roads are new. They weren't there 20 years ago. Most of them. There was only a couple houses there. Our subdivision has grown at an exponential rate. And so there's traffic everywhere. And I understand the hardships of people going down and illegally driving fast on that road. And that is a problem. But I believe that gating off that is just going to create more problems. Fire dangers, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else online?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Pedro Cordova. I live out 315 Pine Valley Road. Hey, one question I have, when I first moved here, you guys used to clean the ditches real nice, and I haven't seen that in a long time. The ditches on the side of the road, you guys used to keep them up real nice and clean them up and do things nice, but I haven't seen that in a while. Are we still doing that or no, or no?
So when they're doing road maintenance out on that particular road, that's typically when they address the ditch. When they're doing that portion of the road for road maintenance. We did also just purchase some other equipment that will allow the road crew to maintain the ditches a little bit better than what we're currently doing. With the
Okay.
grader.
Cool, I was wondering. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else online?
Yes. My name is Sterling Doctorman, 150 Hilltop Drive. My personal belief in listening to all this, the meeting included the other day, is speeding and the inconsiderate speeders, basically. Yes, everyone's seeing the traffic issues, and obviously down below, even around the mailboxes, they are seeing all the excessive traffic. So everyone is seeing that at the bottom, even off to the north entrance. The biggest issue is the speeders. And that is what needs to be resolved, not trying to section off one portion of Forest Lakes and not resolving the issue for everyone else, but pushing all that other traffic back over into everyone else's neighborhoods. So that is my biggest concern is my biggest concern is about the speeding and the inconsiderate drivers that do not. I had somebody pass me pulling my 24-foot trailer the other day, and they got caught up on the traffic coming on 501. And I pulled over, went up and asked the person, and she says, I was trying to get to the dump. And it was right by those flashing speed limit signs where kids walk. And this is the issue that I see as the problem, not just Unit 5. And that's what I have to say about this.
Thank you. Anyone else online? Anybody out in the hallway that has any questions or would like to speak? No? Okay. Okay, then we're going to close the general public input and move on to approve the agenda.
This is Lynn. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
It's Jim, I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, and that is unanimous. Next, we're going to move on to discussion, part 4, Code of Ethics. So I asked to have this meeting to review the Board of Directors Code of Ethics due to inflammatory and disrespectful rhetoric that has evolved on social media stemming from a post by an individual board director. In addition to that, there was information posted that was only meant for Board of Directors and the district manager prior to being added to the next meeting agenda. This is done so information is presented to the community is accurate. I want to make sure everyone on the board is aware of the code of ethics in the board manual, which everyone was to follow when taking this position. When there are disagreements between board members, there should be a civil discussion between board members only during a public meeting regarding the subject based on data and accurate information. And let me get over here. Objectives. The Board of Directors of Forest Lakes Metropolitan District is committed to providing excellence in legislative leadership that results in the provision of the highest quality services and representation on behalf of the district's constituents. In order to assist in the government behavior between and among members of the Board of Directors, the following guidelines are recommended. Respect. The dignity, style, values, and opinions of each director shall be respected. Listening. Responsive and attentive listening in communication is encouraged. Representation. The needs and desires of the district's constituents should be the priority of the Board of Directors. Responsibility. The primary responsibility of the Board of Directors is formulation and evaluation of policy. Routine matters concerning the operational aspects of the district are to be delegated to the district managers for implementation. The board reviews and listens to community district manager and district managers for input to ensure well-rounded decisions. Attitude. Directors should commit themselves to emphasizing the positive, avoiding double talk, hidden agendas, backbiting, and other negative forms of interaction. Orientation. Directors should commit themselves to focusing on issues and not personalities. The presentation of opinions of others should be encouraged. Clicks and voting blocks based on personalities rather than issues should be avoided. Openness. Different viewpoints are healthy in a decision-making process. Individuals have the right to disagree with ideas and opinions. Once the Board of Directors takes action by a majority vote, all directors should support the action and not create barriers to the implementation of such action. There should be no minority opinions or individual disagreement with the action publicly expressed once district action is taken by the board. Courtesy. Directors shall at all times conduct themselves with courtesy to each other, to staff, members, and the audience present at board meetings. Conflict of interest. Directors shall abstain from participating in consideration of any item involving a legally prohibited conflict of interest. Unless such a conflict of interest exists, directors should not abstain, unless such a conflict exists. However, directors should not abstain from the board's decision-making responsibility, including voting on all action items. Advantages. Directors should not use the district or their service on the Board of Directors for personal advantage, privilege, or personal gain for the advantage, privilege, or personal gain of their friends or community members. With that said, I just wanted to bring this forward. I am going to motion to close this discussion.
This is a question for Glenn. I'll second it.
Wait, before y'all vote or close, could y'all do that real quick? I've got a question.
No, this is.
No, but that's not, no, that's the problem, right? That's what he was talking about, the lack of transparency, the quick voting. I've got a question. And you guys are about to vote, motion, do whatever. Can I at least ask a question?
We're not voting on anything. I'm just closing the discussion on this. This is part of our board manual. I'm just bringing it forward to all the Board of Directors.
Gotcha.
So it was seconded, motion by Julie, seconded by Lynn. All those in favor? Oh, we're not voting, never mind. I'm just closing the motion. Next, we'll move on to board action and
That's the
discussion.
problem, I've got a question about what you just said, and you've been trying to move on. I don't understand why I can't just ask, what are you exactly referencing? The ethical violation.
Our
Right,
board
yes, we can look.
Get that, Michael. It is in our board.
Whoa. You did this in the last meeting where you silenced him every time he tried to talk. I watched the video and that's what I'm talking about. Let him talk.
Okay,
Point of order.
go ahead, Michael.
All right, so right after this, there is board action and discussion, revision of the board manual. The first part of that, well, that might be what we're discussing, but it should have been, public comment first, then board discussion, or board discussion, public comment, then board discussion again. Then we take action. That's the way it should be. I think we're gonna be discussing that tonight, so there is gonna be a section right after this, right after the motion was already made. Once a motion's made, you gotta go forward with it. There's very little room for discussion once a motion is made.
That's why I
It is-
raised my hand though, right? I mean,
It's board proceedings. We have to follow Robert's rules,
You only made a motion to close.
Colorado open meeting laws. So once there is those sections for public discussion, that's when you're gonna have the opportunity. I understand though.
I just want to understand, because she just rambled off a bunch of stuff, and I just want to understand specifically, what is that related to?
What is your question?
What is the ethical consideration? I mean, you mentioned nasty Facebook comments or something. What is exactly are we addressing with your motion right there? That's all I wanted to know.
The only thing we're addressing, and the only thing that this is, the objective is to bring forward what is in the board manual to the board members, just in case any of us have missed any of this. That's all it is. It's not changing anything. We're not updating the manual. It's just bringing information back out for consideration for all board members to remember, or go and review the manual if they want to. That's all it is.
And that's all I wanted to ask, right? But it was just motion, no, we're not doing this, so.
And I want to apologize that did happen in the last meeting, and I saw it on the video where he was silenced every time he tried to talk. And I wanted to hear what he had to say. I apologize for my interruption.
Thank you. And I will go review that again because I also reviewed it and I did not see that, so I will review it again.
He had to shut the room down 3 or 4 times during his talk because he was constantly being interrupted by other members of the board. Every time he made a statement, he was interrupted. And it was a constant thing, and he had to keep reminding everybody in the room that it was his turn to talk.
Yes, I was on Zoom that day, and I do remember some of that happening, and it did happen to other board members, so, yeah. I got that. Okay, let's move on to board action and discussion, revision of the board manual. Get back to. Where do we have that for you? Is it in here? Let me- There's a couple of items that I feel need to be revised on the agenda or on in the board manual. One is we need to add a rule to Rule 7-4 and Rule 7-5. To state that under Colorado law, every local government, including special districts, must hold a public and open meeting for an action taken or discussion involving 3 or more board members. That's just something that I believe you brought that up, Corey. And once a vote has been taken, this is under the same section. Once a vote has been taken and recorded, an individual board member cannot later change their vote on that decided item except within the same meeting. However, the board as a whole may revisit or take up the matter again if it is properly placed back on a future agenda for discussion and potential action. So that will also be added and updated in the manual if we can get it updated.
And just some clarification from me. If the board chooses to move this way, that one statement goes under both rules, and that bottom statement is for Rule 7-4 or 7-5.
We could.
Or you want me to just, if that's the guidance of the board, I can put it where I think it needs to go, and then.
Well, we have the blurb about except within the same meeting, and I think that's Rule 5. So I've got the manual here. Reconsideration of the same meeting. I believe that's gonna go under Rule 4. And then the subsequent meeting, Rule 5. Will be once a vote has been taken, is what I'm seeing.
So the second sentence of that you were reading, however, the board as a whole may revisit or take up the matter again if it's properly placed back in the future meeting agenda for discussion and potential action. You're gonna add that to the bottom of Rule 7.5, reconsideration subsequent meeting, is that what you're saying? Because that states any two directors may request that an item resolved in an earlier meeting be added to the agenda of a subsequent meeting. The presiding officer may reject this request if no new information is presented to warrant further debate. So is this in addition to what the current manual says? Just the second part of that, I'm just not very clear how you're planning on splitting this stuff up. And it kind of reads to me that we can already have it on a subsequent meeting, so I don't know why we're adding it.
I believe it was to be on that, except on the same meeting. So instead of the subsequent, so the board should not reverse a decision. However, the board as a whole may revisit. I believe that's what it was, Stephanie. So the board should not reverse a decision where the audience that provided public input in the initial action have parted. If you want, we could table this until December.
I would like to table it so that we can see what the actual rule as a whole is going to look like.
Yeah. I thought I had it lined out pretty good, but apparently I don't.
I also think there should be something in there about, motions being made within the first couple minutes of a discussion on an agenda item. If we are following exactly how we're supposed to, 2 minutes into the debate, when Jim said, I want to make a motion and started reading out, legally, we should not have stopped that. We should have been required to vote on it at that moment. The fact that we didn't, we broke the rules for Colorado open meetings law. That shouldn't happen because no debate, no discussion, no nothing had taken place. And there was already a motion on the floor.
So where is that legally?
I'm just saying as a board, these are our policies. We can add to, but we can't take away. The fact that there was no discussion should not occur. Those motions like that should not be placed so early into a discussion or an agenda item without the input of all board members. And I think it was just public at that point that we're only allowed to speak on the topic. He spoke, he made a motion. Corey stalled him rightly. I mean,
yeah, I stopped Jim when that happened, and I do agree with you. And one thing that I would like to do in December is go through the whole board manual before the December meeting, like we did before, come up with any revisions, bring it to the board. That could be added. One of the things that I would like to see added is what we're supposed to go through before, when we're making a decision. Step A, this is what we need to review. Step B, this is what we need. We need the budget. We need a timeline. We need,
we should already know that though. We are a board that represents the district.
Right, but if it's lined out, just like Corey said, he probably can't give us a timeline on a lot of things because he may not know it yet. But we can, it's just things for us to ask. And that came about from me because of this last board meeting.
So what you're suggesting is adding more, step by step, so more process.
Yes.
Right?
More clarity.
Yeah, or maybe have, like you said, budgeting committee.
Yeah.
Committee created to review this stuff. That's, I just for clarity, that's what kind of you're asking for, is to add a process to, to our, okay.
Yeah. And it's more also for, we're all not going to be on the board all the time. So this is for new board members coming in. This is just an evolving document to update and make sure that it is spelled out for anybody that comes in as a board member.
And that's specifically in, I'm sorry, Jim, action items.
Yeah.
I think, okay.
Just a point of information, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. Robert's Rules procedure is simple. You introduce a motion, you get a second, and then you have discussion. And the discussion happens after you propose what you're intending to do. You can't really discuss something in a nebulous vacuum. But I believe that's Robert's Rules is motion, second, discussion, ultimately possibly a vote.
I would have to look into that. I listened to Robert's Rule of Law when I first came on, but
I think that'd be something worth looking up for
Mhm.
that table discussion.
No, and now, and to add to it, that was on the agenda of where does the public trying to outline going forward is where is the public, where is the board, where is all of that stuff, so it would be good to clarify.
So, okay, we're gonna table this, first one, which is the, Rule 7-4 and Rule 7-5 to make sure that we get it on the right area. We'll just put that in the December meeting where we update the board manual. Procedure on information presented and action taken by the board.
So we're done with this one, right? We're moving.
I don't think we went through everything.
Are we tabling the entire?
Adding verbiage to the complaint.
Yeah, we're doing that one. Or are we tabling the whole?
We're tabling, the first one, 3A. So 3B is adding verbiage to 4-2B complaint in the board manual. And then this also came about because of all of this, responses to the emails from residents sent directly to the board. The present.
I'm sorry to interrupt. 3B is actually the discussion about the other stuff.
What?
This is one whole document.
I don't have that.
So this is for 3A and this is for 3B.
Yeah, so.
So the complaint process is on 3A.
Okay, we don't have that in the all I have is 3A in the electronic copy. So this is still 3A then, you're saying?
Yes. Because it was part of the
Should be
board manual.
page 2 of our package.
If you
If you printed it double-sided, find them.
Yeah, page 2 of the board manual for me. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we're only going to table number 1, 3A. So that won't be tabled. We may end up tabling the other one too. The other one was adding verbiage to section 4-2B complaints. So just for all of the board, because sometimes and oftentimes the residents will copy the entire board who's to respond. I talked to Corey about this, and the president will respond if there is a need to, and will respond if the residents send it directly to the board. So if they send it to all of us and Corey's not copied, then I will respond, but I will work with Corey on the response. In my absence, the vice president would respond and work with the manager, same thing. The district manager will respond to all resident complaints not sent to the board. So that's kind of what Corey and I talked about, should be our procedure. I don't know if anybody has any other thoughts on that.
So we're restricting other board members' ability to communicate with the community members?
Well, we need to have a common message. We should all have a common message.
I really disagree with that. we're not gonna have a common message because we all have our own history and experiences that we bring to this board. We all represent the board, yes, but we all don't have the same opinion. And to say that I'm not able to respond to one of these emails out here, I think is absolutely atrocious.
Would it, without, because I guess I interpreted what you said differently. I didn't interpret it as you can't respond. It's whose responsibility is it to respond? But I don't know, if that's what it is, because I kind of agree, if it's sent to the whole board, because I've received ones individually, who would that fall to? If it's sent to the whole board, I think the president having a responsibility to respond, or the vice president in their absence. But I think as long as it's not copying the whole board and running into sunshine law issues, any individual board member could respond back to those people. And I think that would be fair, but then kind of having that responsibility of who needs to, and if other board members want to do it as well. Is that?
Can I just take a step back? I think it might be worthwhile to share what the existing pitch is to everybody that's attending.
I don't think we have any.
The 4 2B complaints, I'd be happy to read it. So 4 2B complaints. In handling complaints from residents and property owners of the district, said complaints should be referred to the manager. Board members should refrain from attempting to handle complaints without the involvement of the manager. Just a little backdrop so everybody has that information.
Yeah.
But that to me does make more sense on having that order of action. That may, yeah, I use definitely that does help clarify because. But.
So what we should do then is forward the email to Corey rather than respond. So Corey, as the district manager, can respond to the.
So, well, this is where I'm kind of torn, because I should be involved in helping get information and the facts and, make sure we're kind of sending the same message on the same issue. But I don't feel like I should be responsible for answering a complaint sent to Lynn or a complaint sent to Jim or any of the board members. I don't think I should be answering the board's email.
Corey's not a board member.
Yeah.
And I definitely.
I agree with that. And I'm also thinking about, like, for clarity, but may I add to it a little bit? I'm sorry, should I let you finish?
No.
I was just thinking, if we have an email that's being sent directly to one board member, then the entire board is excluded in other than that one board member. And I don't know how that complaint then can be shared with everybody so that all voices on the board know what the issues are and can address those issues. I do want to say this may be something that we do need to table and put more thought into for sure.
And absolutely, I should be definitely made aware of the complaint.
Sure.
So I can, give the information of this is why we do it this way, and, we didn't think about ever looking at doing this job this way, like trash hours. But I'm not comfortable answering your guys' email.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that would be. I don't think that's acceptable either.
Yeah, and I'd also be curious how we.
Pay my bills too.
No.
I'd be curious how we know, because there are ones that I think are sent to individual board members, but if they BCC all the board members, how do we know who it actually went to? Did it go to all of them? Or?
Well, if it comes from me, it's my copy to the entire board.
Yeah, that I assume, but if it's coming directly from them, we don't really have visibility most of the time on who it actually
Right.
went to.
And that's what I've had to ask him, am I supposed to respond to this, or did you respond? And he said, I've already responded. So that's why what my objective was to try and line out how we respond to the emails, so we have some kind of a knowledge of what's going on.
I think complaints, whether it's in person or email, are a direct connection between board members and community members. I don't think that should be restricted. I think people need to know, and I've had conversations with people this weekend where I've drawn a line, where I've said, I'm not gonna discuss anything about that. And if you don't understand, I'm gonna talk as a board member and as a community member when we're just talking. But it removes our ability to talk to community members just because it's in an email. And I don't think that's right, because that's how we understand what the public is looking for from us. That's how we get information on what to put on the agenda for future meetings, where we want the district or the community to go. If we cut off that line of communication, then it just becomes 5 people sitting up here, not knowing what all these people that showed up today, not knowing their true feelings. And I just don't agree with it. I understand what you're saying about complaints and on certain topics, certain hot button issues, maybe, but complaints is I don't know. It's part of our job.
I mean,
I agree with that.
I can agree with some of that, and if we don't set some way to respond, residents could get 5 different emails. So I'm just trying to, see if there was a better way for us to do this. But we can table this until December.
But if I may.
Yeah.
After board discussion, this is an item that does have public discussion or public comment. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Table something.
I don't know if we're done.
But you just said table it, so I just wanted to.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Did anybody else have any other feedback from the board?
I was gonna say, my one thought is, if we are gonna table it, I guess, is this something, Corey, I'm not asking you to. Can you give us guidance on what other districts might be doing? I guess with this, is it open? Is it kind of limited? Because the board manual, from what Stephanie had read, seems like it's limited and we have to work through you. Is that what others have? Should that be changed? So like, what do other similar districts, or what is the SDA guidance on that? And if you could bring that back as here's conceptually what other areas of the SDA guidance is, that might help us kind of have a better worded approach to it.
Yeah, I think I'd just like to maybe dig into that a little bit, because we use the word complaints, and maybe we need to broaden that language, because complaints can be anything to like what Mr. Cordova's was complaining about, the ditches not being cleaned, which is totally a Corey thing, to wanting their voices heard, to the gating of Mesa Drive. So maybe we can expand on that language and as a part of this in future communication. And I just want to say, I'd rather not table it until we've had public comment.
Sure. Yeah. And we ended up tabling number 1, but maybe we should just open it up for public comments for all of them.
That, if I want to jump too fast on that.
Yeah.
Apologize.
So, does anybody have any comments on any of that? I think you did.
I had it. That was it.
You had a what?
That was a hiccup.
Oh, okay. Anybody else?
I just want to speak real quick. Matt Marlin again, 125 Mountain Oak Drive, and I apologize if I get names wrong. I know Corey, because I've talked to him enough. I think your name's Michael. I appreciate Michael speaking up at the last meeting. I saw what he was doing as taking the other side, looking at it view, I saw him get shut down. But he said many times, interrupted, have to remind people it's time to speak. There were a few comments like on the Facebook post that he made today or this week, which again, I appreciated because it was open dialogue. Lots of comments like, I can't believe, I saw people with joy, I can't believe the board member did this. I can't believe he spoke this. That's exactly the type of people I vote for, right? Even in not just board, but at regular elections. People that are gonna speak for me, my neighbors, everyone, and not just a small group.
Everybody was
So the concept of one voice when our complaints come in, I don't like. That to me is like a dictatorship, really. I like hearing from different people. I like hearing different perspectives, making my own opinion. And again, I just really wanted to let him know. I appreciate him speaking up at the last meeting. I appreciate him posting on Facebook. I don't always agree with Lynn, and he knows this, but I appreciate him posting up a minute and engaging, having a conversation, and not just like making these what I think are fast decisions without taking the larger community's opinion and hearing our voices. And you know, I guess that's all I have to say about it. But I do appreciate it. So, you know.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess we'll, did anybody online have a question or a comment about what we just talked about for complaints or the voting? Yes.
Yeah, I can't keep track of all the things that were tabled, but 4.2D, I think really needs to be looked at very carefully. And to Stephanie's point about what is a complaint as opposed to a concern, whether it is in the purview of Metro District Manager or whether it's in the purview of board to deal with. I think that needs to be distinguished. Emails are ways to communicate complaints, concerns to those that need to address them. The way the Metro District website email is set up, and I may not be aware of this, but I didn't know that there was an option to CC all of the board members. It's like I got to send the same thing every. So that's maybe something that you could look at. And I would say if it went to one, it should go to all. Because I mean, I can come into Corey's office and I can complain to him face to face. But to be able to communicate my concerns to all of the board members is odious. And to that, about complaints, we have complained for years about the traffic on West Forest Lake.
That's everywhere in the neighborhood.
Excuse me, sir. Wait, we're not in the house.
No, we're not. I apologize. Sorry.
But it's just about board discussions too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Not non-agenda items.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've already talked about, so that's not about these items here.
Well, but we need to find a better way to get voices heard rather than Facebook.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, anybody else on the Zoom?
I would have to agree with what my husband had to say. Facebook is not the place. Social media is just a way for keyboard warriors to hide behind their profile and act like a-holes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I have something to say as well.
Okay, Renee, we've got somebody else already speaking. We'll get back to you.
Rob Hart, neighbor on 136 Spruce Way. I disagree. I think Facebook's a great thing in this community. It allows us to learn what's going on. And there's no other good way to find out.
especially when the board conducts themselves in a way without engaging the neighborhood and then makes a decision.
Baby, just a minute.
Okay, anything else?
Very important for us to know what's going on. This decision, although it may benefit me, right? It doesn't. It's dangerous for my family because it leaves us one exit. General topic, I'll move on. I agree with what Mike says. I think every board member should be able to respond to an email if it's sent to everybody. I don't think there should be a hierarchy because that's a common message, or a less politically correct term, controlling the narrative. I don't think it's right to control the narrative, but I think it's important for us to be able to hear clearly.
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to control a narrative or be dictative or anything. It was just more, I just know what I see where I work, and that's, we have people that respond to things, and so that's just kind of what I was looking at. So we can definitely look at this in December and see what works best for everybody. Renee, did you have something to say?
I want to say that I think cooler heads should prevail in this discussion. The gate has very little impact on people who do not live on West Forest Lakes Drive and the impacted parts of Mesa. We're talking about a minimal diversion.
Renee, we're not talking about that at this point. We're talking about the complaints and changing the board manual. We did talk about that earlier, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Corey, did you have the other piece? Because it's not in the electronic copy. So we're gonna table these things for December when we review the board manual. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would
Well,
say, oh, go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. We're not actually making a motion or voting on that right now. This is guidance, so. We have some homework to do, so we don't need to say anything about tabling or.
Okay.
So we're not, it's not being
Okay,
tabled really.
that's fine.
You have a motion on the floor.
Yeah. So, the other discussion item was, some options, which, we were just talking about. Let's wait a minute. It looks like you added the options for how we should work.
That's everything you sent me.
So to hear from the staff, okay, options for how information and discussions take place. To hear from the staff, this is what Michael was talking about, to hear from the staff. This is coming from our legal counsel. One of the ways that he has seen it in boards is the staff gives their input, the residents give their input, then you have board discussion and action item or resolution. Option 2 would be to have the staff provide input, the board members discuss the issue, then the residents provide input, and the board can then discuss further and have resolution. Or is there a better way?
So I have a suggestion on this, that I was thinking about today. When it comes to an item on the agenda, staff or whoever's presenting that subject presents it. And then right after staff presents it, open it up for public comment. And then the board can discuss it further if they have some more clarifying questions that they want to ask the public or of staff, kind of help expedite the process versus it going staff, board, public, back to board.
So staff, board, staff.
No, it would be staff, public comment, and then the board discussion. It's kind of, I think will help expedite the thing versus going back and forth from, staff, the board, then public comment, and then back to the board.
It fits most situations, but this one in particular was a board initiative. And so there should be provision for how that's handled as opposed to a staff. In other words, you wanted to buy a track up. You make a case, public input and so on. And then the flip side though is if there is a board initiative, then you're not able to make the presentation on that. So that changes the order, the way things would be presented, I think.
Well, and that's why, then maybe I didn't say it loud enough, but staff or whoever's presenting it.
Yeah,
Okay.
or public, could you say public or staff?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I didn't realize that was a board initiative. I guess I was thinking that was more of a public initiative. So that would be something I would like for us to clarify at some point.
Yeah. I'm okay with, trying to go with the staff public board. That's kind of what Michael was saying as well. And then, but you're saying staff, public, staff and board.
Well, it should be needed to go back to the staff unless during the board discussion part or section of it, if they had some clarifying questions they wanted to ask or something, then they, ask the member of staff or the member of the public or whoever they had a question for.
Okay.
I was actually saying staff, if they need to present something, then board. So the public knows where we stand going into their option to speak. Then back to board. So that's where the motion or board members being able to ask Corey or one of the directors again for clarification. But that would be the final, would be board. So staff presents, board discusses, public and board for the final.
Okay.
So I just wanted to ask a quick clarifying question. Would you say staff, that first step, would that be staff or public presenting? Or
Yeah, whichever, I guess.
Presenter.
Whatever the
Presenter.
presenting entity is.
Yeah, presenter, board, public, board.
So, I, going off what Michael was just saying, the presenter presents, board discusses it, public comment, then, a motion could be had and seconded, and then the clarifying question, if there's any more debate or questions or comments are happened before, roll calls taken on said motion.
Presenter, board, public, motion.
Presenter, board, public, board.
Board.
Yeah, motion / board.
Board.
EPB. Peanut butter.
Now, you want me to spell that out on the agenda in that fashion?
Yeah. I think it's good the way you have it, in
Can I
other
ask you
places.
something? When you were in Bayfield, was the manager responsible or the secretary responsible for writing up the agenda?
Yeah.
Or was it like a board, what's it called? I just have it. Board secretary responsible.
So I don't know how they're doing it now in Bayfield. They got a new manager. I know when I was the director down there working under Katie, Katie would prepare, or the town clerk would prepare the agenda. So they would have this nice clean one that didn't have a bunch of stuff on it that would be posted and for the public. And then there would be a separate agenda that had the exact same stuff on there, except for it would have the suggested motion next to the item and stuff like that. That was all done by the town manager, or if she designated the town clerk to do that. 90% of the time, it was the town manager doing it at the time. So yes, essentially it's Don and I sit down and go over what's gonna be on the agenda, and then Shauna is the one that does this. Well, I did this one actually.
I did see that in our board manual. One of them is the order of the agenda. The presiding officer of the meeting shall determine if anything needs to be moved around. And then I thought there was something in here about the president will work with the manager on the agenda.
And that's why I'm talking on a smaller board. A board secretary would do that.
And Shauna is your board secretary.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a board member. So like in a church, that's how it
Well,
was.
so-
It was an actual elder like, in that case.
The board secretary can be a member of the board or a member of the board. For, I don't know how many years it's been,
Okay.
the board secretary is
Oh.
in that position.
Okay.
Yeah, so
It would be something the board could go to in the future. That a designated secretary.
Yeah.
Okay. And the only reason I'm asking is, again, like, just like the complaint, like you have your job. You know, this is another thing on your plate to do, or Shauna's plate in this case, to organize this agenda. So just wanted to,
yeah, on the rule 3, it says the president and the chairman shall be the board's liaison to the manager and shall work with the manager to develop the board agenda prior to each meeting.
I've been on boards where it's different with the
Yeah.
secretary. So that's the only reason I'm asking is, you know, I've been on ones where it's the board's responsibility, you know, to take notes, design the agenda, take notes, get it out, get the meetings out. So minutes out, right?
It really is divided amongst the 3 of us, right? So, the board secretary is supposed to, you know, want to go in the minutes and whatnot. Barb is the one that handles the minutes. Shauna, I write the stuff down on my whiteboard, and she comes in and sits down with me and goes through this, and this, and I'll go back in this order. And then I'm responsible for trying to put everything together outside of what I asked Shauna or Barb to put together for the package.
And you know, again, I've been on other boards, like I said, where there's board secretary. And if we're looking at the board policies, I was just looking or asking you for your experience and just seeing what you dealt with in the past, so.
If you want my honest opinion, leave it in-house.
Leave it what?
In-house,
Yeah.
because it makes it easier for us to prepare for the meeting.
For sure.
If you guys have something you guys want to put on there, we can get it into the thing, and then if like a resident wanted something to be on the agenda, like a question or whatever, it gives staff ample time to do some research and have an answer from that question in that portion of the meeting.
For sure. And it's worked for a while here. I just wanted to get your opinion on what Bayfield, your experience was, and it's looking at the, you know, board policy.
The next item was information needed for board action. Information and pertinent to make, this is what I was talking about, Stephanie, earlier, what we might need to have as considerations. I know we all know this, but we didn't do some of this when we were on this last call, the last meeting. So information pertinent to make informed decisions from staff, board members, and residents. Timeline of project outlines if applicable, budget and quotes provided if it's available. You know, it may have to come later, but that's something we should ask for, you know, in our decision making. You know, Corey, could you please get the budget and we'll maybe move it to the next meeting if we don't know what budget. And then provide information to who it's affecting.
So, I mean, the first one's pretty but I just want to say on like the timeline of projects, we don't necessarily start looking at the timeline of certain projects until we have board approval to proceed forward. Because some of these projects take quite a bit of behind the scenes of, all right, we gotta get this contractor lined up and all that, and you're calling people and you're getting their hopes up that, hey, we got a job coming down the pipeline, and then the board says no. So sometimes we'll be able to have a timeline, beforehand, but for the most part, the timeline ain't gonna come until after it's been approved by the board for us to move forward.
I think it's more about asking, because you know what your projects are. What kind of a timeline do you feel that this could be? Is it next quarter, in the summer, in December, so we have some kind of a.
And that is very doable, but the board would need to remember that sometimes, timelines fall apart, like our water line extension project up there on 19th Circuit. A lot of snags with the building in the wrong spot, some other issues have popped up that
Yeah,
it's got delayed, severely delayed.
yeah,
We had to have some extra engineering, and now we gotta figure out how to relocate a road and not push the drainage off into guy's property.
mhm, yeah.
Then as number three, the budgets. What do you exactly, you wanna know if it was a budgeted item, or you wanna know if it's an unbudgeted item? Do we have the funds in the budget to cover said item?
Something like that, or we need to look at this in the next meeting or 2 meetings later, so you can come up with the budget. I just want to make sure that timelines and everything are provided and given accurately and openly, because of how we handle this situation on the gates. So it's more of us gathering information, maybe you. Something like that.
I think I got an idea of kind of what we're going, so if Mark comes in and wants buy a brand new blower, it's 10 grand, it's not a budgeted expense, and blah, 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 why we need it.
Yeah. That's just my thoughts. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, I think if it's, I like the idea of it's budgeted or not budgeted at a minimum of that, and if it's something that the staff is coming with, having that with the estimated cost makes sense, but I get that a lot of times it's not knowable until we
Right.
kind of make the decision of here's where we want to go. But once we've made the decision, if we don't know the cost necessarily, I don't know if it almost takes a second approval of, yeah, that cost sounds good. Which,
Right, because that's what Stephanie brought up, is we didn't even know what the budget was. So discussion should have happened, then we should have gotten the budget, then we should have potentially moved forward with it.
yeah,
I guess, it's, if you're just talking about a procedure, these things that are big decisions, I think we should have a presentation. We didn't make decisions to pave the entrance. We didn't make decisions on lots of other things in one meeting. We had a presentation, we had another meeting to follow up on it, talk about whatever, the budget changes, stuff like that, or the charges changes. Those took a while, and I think that
if you guys want to come in.
I think that I think we should have a process where we don't present and take action on these
Right.
things at one meeting. I think they need more consideration. I think there's a lot of stuff. We were bombarded with information during that last meeting, and I'm like, I really feel like it would have been more beneficial to put the information out there, have time to digest it, maybe have a committee to talk about it, look at all these other things. So I would like our have a process that is a little bit slower and gives us time. I am not a rash decision maker, and so I was overwhelmed in our last board meeting, to be honest with you. And so for me, I think that would be a great procedure to have, just take it down a notch, give us, here's the information. Then like, cause maybe the week after you go, oh, we didn't even ask about this. So next board meeting, we have an opportunity to ask about it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I agree too.
Yeah. Okay.
I think for 2 and 3, it's really like we're looking for subject matter expert opinion at that point. Whatever can be offered on any project, any action that you guys, we refer to you guys. And I think, these specific items may not be available, but whatever your input should be, and that's in that spot right there. Because that's what we're looking for. Just like the excavator, we turn to Daryl. Daryl, what are you looking for in an excavator? I haven't purchased one lately, ever. What are you looking for? And that's what we need as a board to make the appropriate decisions.
Yeah.
So maybe a change in verbiage on 2 and 3, maybe combine them to reflect that we're asking for director, manager information at that point, clarification.
And possibly even outside expert.
Yeah.
Like we usually do
Like
with
the
all of our
trash.
budget decisions. Well, yeah, trash, or even like the piece of equipment. Daryl has to talk to us, an expert at every one of those, vendors. So
We
I
had
like
the
that
cat
idea.
lady the last meeting.
Cat lady, yeah.
So, yeah.
She can talk, but she had to leave.
Now, my next question. Just an SOP, you guys looking for, policy to be adopted by, resolution into the district code or something, or board manual? How do you want this presented?
I feel like an SOP seems like the right, because it is a process we're going through, and it's a guide for the process, maybe, I don't know. But it seems like that's the correct for this. And I don't know if that then goes in the main, I don't know where the SOPs go.
It's just kind of,
Yeah.
my next question was,
It's almost
what if we
like
incorporated into the board manual?
But having a step-by-step guideline.
Yeah.
Similar to what we did with the legal at the bottom. Just add that in so it's there.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll wait till we're done, 'cause I have got one additional question for the board manual that I presented to you. Will that be on the next meeting about the schedule? Right now?
Oh, no, that doesn't, we just need to fix that when we
Okay,
revise it.
all right,
Sorry.
that's okay, I just,
In the board manual, it still says the second Tuesday.
Yeah.
We need to update it to the third Tuesday.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about that.
No, I was gonna update that for the next one, so. Then are there any public comments for, well, is the board done discussing?
yes.
Michael?
I'm done.
Okay, any public comment? Carrie?
Presentation. Right now, the presentation about the last board meeting is happening in Waverly Forest. Everybody is got their position on that. Rob's point, Facebook does have a value, but as far as procedure on information presented and getting that out to the residents here, there needs to be a better process for that, which is not neighborly forest areas. Now, I know that Metro District has a Facebook page. The problem is that there are so many people that have moved in here recently are not aware of what's been going on. And they may have joined Neighborly Forest Lakes, but they don't know about the Metro District site. So I think, Michael, you would be the right one to do it, since you kicked the hornet's nest, is go out there and say, hey, all you people that are commenting here, go over to Forest Lakes Metro District Facebook page and post your comments there. Forum. That needs to be the forum. It does not need to be Neighborly Forest Lake, because people are carrying torches and pitchforks right now.
Well, that's why, Corey created a website, and everything should be going through the website, Forest Lakes website, so.
But people need to be educated, because they're all about Neighborly Forest Lakes, you know, post their jokes or whatever, but.
I will say, when we get new residents that are coming in, and you'll getting the accounts and stuff set up in the key fob, Barbara and Shawna do a fantastic job of giving them the skill. Here's the website, this, you know, a whole guru of Forest Lakes, you know, we have a Facebook page, ExpressBill page where you go to sign up. There's a website, sign up for notifications. They do an excellent job at advertising the website, our Facebook page, and
that's great. That may have been going on for 2 years. There's people that have been here 5 years that are fucking clueless.
Okay, we're gonna move on to anybody online. Do you have any comments about the board discussion for the action that we're gonna take on how we think about our process during the meeting? No?
I'm Donna Van Hoosen from 1066 Deer Ridge Drive, just in regarding what we just spoke of. I just want us to remember the people, I know several people who are not on Facebook, or like one person said computer. If these postings can have a dedicated area down there so they will know this is where I can look for what's happening, I think that would be especially beneficial to our elderly people. I hate computers altogether, but I still use them. But there are some people who have no desire, they don't even own them in their home, that are living here in Forest Lake. And I think there might be more people than we even know about, because, you know, a lot of people don't want to admit they don't do that, because everything is on computer. But for those who are not connected, but they live here, it would help them to know what's going on without having to hear it from a neighbor or hear it from somebody else, or maybe never hear it at all. And I think that would have happened with what happened last month. Some people didn't even know it until like a day or two ago, because there was no, not connected to all that stuff. So I would just like to see if that's a consideration we could make for those people. So there's just one spot, you know, you print up the stuff, run off a copy, put it up there so that they could then read it. I don't know. And also that could encourage others who maybe have the access to this stuff, but they don't go on. They don't go on the Metro. They don't go on that, and that could encourage them to say, oh, I want to look into that. Maybe that could help bring people more into our discussion as residents in our community. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we do have a designated posting place, and we have to do it beginning of every year, and it has to be adopted by resolution. We have a dedicated posting place where we post agenda and flyers down at the mill stop, and then the bulletin board right out here is also the other designated posting place, as well as our website.
Right, but all the things that you put them on the website, you put those up there, you know, religiously, where whatever you're doing on there, it is up there for those who cannot access it.
The agenda is posted. We're required by law, we have to do it.
Right, right.
We don't post the packet, because sometimes the packet is, you know, honored.
But I read all this stuff. I'll take a day and I'll read everything. And some of those things have things on top of things. I don't know where the designated one down at the mailbox is. Which one is that? Is that in, or is it wherever there's a space?
No, so there
no here, but at the mailbox.
There's one that is locked that the public can't get into.
Right, on the left.
Yeah.
On the right,
that is,
or excuse me, on the right.
Yeah, that is our designated Folsom Place.
That's where the community things from here.
The
are
mailbox?
supposed to- Okay, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could. I can't do it tomorrow, I can do it Monday.
It says Forest Lakes Metro District on it, and it's a bigger one. It's right next to the door, where the mail lady goes in and out.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Cause I read all of the stuff they put up there, but
Yeah.
I never realized.
Well, my only question is, like this gate thing that went down. I know this had been in the works for a while, so I remember coming home and seeing, I think it was a traffic counter out there. But there wasn't anything about doing investigative work about a gate or anything or traffic on the website.
The traffic counter at that point in time had nothing to do with the gates. That was solely for, our internal purposes, figuring out where we should start focusing more effort or which roads we need to look at more often for road maintenance.
Oh,
Because
okay.
obviously some roads receive more traffic than others, like I live on Little Bear. I don't get a whole lot of traffic down at the end of my cul-de-sac, but right there at the walking trail gets quite a bit of traffic in that. It gets torn up a little fast.
Well, the only thing I'm saying is when y'all are working on a project that's like super big, like this gate situation, we need to know that you're working on it, that you're considering it, that you have things you're thinking you might want to do. I mean, we need to know.
Yeah, but that's kind of what we were discussing earlier, like having it be a multiple. We didn't know it was
Yeah.
up for discussion until that board meeting.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why we're asking to just extend it out. Yeah,
If we don't know it's happening.
yeah, and
When we finally all found out, it was said and done.
right. And I think that's what we're talking here with the
Okay.
procedures, modifying those so that what happened at that point is avoided in the future.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, sir.
I just have another comment, in light of that, before a major decision like that is made, seems to me like it would be a good idea to notify people that you're doing a traffic count and actually do a traffic count for the purpose of learning what you're gonna do before you make any kind of decision. In other words, as much information as you can gather beforehand that you can inform the public with would really be helpful.
Yeah.
And can I add to that real quick? It was a year and a half ago and I'm not too sure on my timeline. We did a traffic count and you were a board member at that time with the two front entrances, with Guy as a manager. That information was put out on how many people came and left Forest Lakes. And it was also used in the discussion on rerouting the entrance and paving the entrance. So that information at that point was put out by Guy.
Yeah.
So I agree, yeah.
But not necessarily for the center property.
Right. Yeah. Or how about voting, putting the paper out there to explain, points of view and then have everybody vote.
Like a public vote.
A public vote in neighborhood.
Voting is quite costly to the district, because if we're going to do an official vote, we have to, correct me if I'm wrong, but it has to be recorded with the county. And I mean, there's a whole big thing. What Corey did before on, what was the reason you did the survey?
Speed bumps.
Speed bumps.
Yeah.
Was email it out to everybody, but then there's people that don't have computers that did not receive that. So,
But we also got a lot of engagement utilizing the survey system on the speed bumps. And it wasn't as costly because it wasn't an actual state vote, state mandated or regulated vote.
So survey would be just in second.
yeah. Yes, sir.
I appreciate the order of discussion. I think opens it up better so that people at the board meeting can understand what's going on better, but I think in between board meetings, we need more engagement.
And one tool that is used very commonly is Textcaster. I don't know if you heard of that or know what that is. It's basically a service that allows you to send a text, says, this is what's going on. We want input, and all you have to do is reply to the text. If that's a great idea, that's a bad idea. Or this is why, or tell us what do you want to see in the community, things like that. Or this is what we're working on the next board meeting, we'd like some input, so please share your thoughts. And it's a really simple service, it just texts everybody's phone, you can sign up for it, just click it through the newsletter.
Yeah,
We
'cause I
do
like the
have something
texts
like
and the
that, don't we
emails.
already?
Civic Plus.
I'm gonna be the,
Yeah,
devil's advocate.
we're
here.
getting off topic.
We're getting off.
Yeah.
Our public comment section, I guess, not to cut you short, I do get that, but, real fast, if you sign up for notifications on our website, you can either choose to get text or email, and then stuff that we put on the website, we can push a notification out to folks.
Yeah, this is different in the fact that you can engage with it, it's not just like a news snippet.
Did you use that for the last board meeting and the thing that was decided? Did you put that through that avenue?
It's on the website, I do not push a, notification on it.
Okay, that's, yeah.
Yeah, no.
So to go along with that, and your comment, ma'am, I know, like she said, there's people that don't engage in anything electronic. The notifications, if they were printed out for the next year and a half, whatever, like as a board member, I would be willing to hang a printed notification on that board. So that way the people that do have signed up for notification receive it. The people that don't and look at the board will also get that notification printed out, and I would be willing to volunteer for that. They're just to hang it, so it's not another thing, Shauna, or you guys have to do.
We check mail every day, sure.
And I was gonna say that too, that I think you check that mail, but I was just offering that those notifications become an actual printout and get hung up.
I think you do that already, don't you?
I know we print them off and put them out here on the table, but we don't actually print off like the notification that gets sent off the website. It's something we can.
Yeah. Maybe you guys can think about how you want to do that. Okay,
I
right.
just wanted to circle really quick back to the whole texting, because that's something we want to add for some future discussion.
The text thing?
The text, what was the name of that?
Textcaster, you can send out alerts, there's ones that you can reply to.
Yeah, or to see if our texting system allows for responses, something to look into maybe?
Because those who don't have computers do have phones, and they can
Mostly.
receive text messages. That's another thing to add.
But they do have a computer.
Yeah.
Well, we're all born with a computer, right?
But with this latest update, AT&T, like I ain't no service up at our house.
Yeah.
Carrie, did you have a comment?
Well, just a word of caution on that, because somebody's gonna have to receive all those replies.
Right.
And there is currently a poll out, for its legs. Last time I checked, there were 167 respondents on the disappointed side. And I don't know how many there are now. Yeah, but somebody's gonna have to field all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, is it something we want to discuss about it?
Yeah.
Discuss at some future
I think
meeting.
having because like I'm a believer in polls and surveys when they're done appropriately. And so I think having a policy or some guidance, I think, is a needed thing to kind of go and say, when should we do polls? When should we, if there's another Textcaster for more pulse things? I think having guidance, that should be something we talk about and create guidance for Corey and team to kind of say, here's how we can go about it. Here's guidance for you guys to help be able to run it. And what that looks like how to word questions to not be biased.
Yeah, I mean, because polls on or Neighborly Forest Lakes, like, not all of us use Facebook or Neighborly Forest Lakes, so.
Yeah.
Not even all of the board members.
Yeah.
So,
And polls on there are often like the one reference public. People get insulted for voting the wrong way. And which did happen. And so I think us doing our own thing is important.
yeah, like official.
Yes.
So doing a poll on Neighborly Forest Lakes page is skewed anyways with people, because there's a lot of people that are on that Facebook page that don't live here.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
Exactly.
I've had people tell me, I have friends that tell me that live in Bayfield, yeah, we're just on the page for the comical over there.
I had someone tell me that today.
Yeah.
He doesn't live there.
Okay,
Reputation is key. Ben.
yep.
Isn't it something we can look at as long as we're discussing the board policies and procedures that the board can control a survey as well? That, again, we're not throwing something in that they have to maintain. President, vice president, board members agree on a topic that should be put out there and we control the survey.
And you wouldn't have to.
I'd be okay
You
with
wouldn't
it.
have to have a reaction.
Yeah.
All you'd have to do is could be a one-way survey where you guys didn't have to.
Yeah, just collection
Response.
data.
Again, I'm not trying to take things away from you, but I'm also not trying to add to.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. But it'd be hard pressed if you guys have like a survey committee consisted of just two people, because if you all come up with, let's do a survey on this, outside of this right here, you're in violation of sunshine law.
Yeah.
So it would have to be a committee of two board members and that's it. So
You know,
unless you wanted to have,
but that's what,
if the board wanted to control the survey, that decision would have to be done at a meeting.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That's why I said the president and the vice president with board discussion. Say, we want to look at a survey for this. Simple questions, we can identify them during the initial discussion on the topic. And that can be, again, I'm not saying you guys can't do it. I'm not trying to add more stuff to your plates. It's a survey, I get it. It's not that much, but we do have people that are capable. And I'm just saying that the board is established for a reason. And I think this just goes back to communication with the board and the public, that we are responsible for the decisions we make.
I'm all for the help, but you guys pay me to do this.
I get it, yeah.
Yeah, and we're basically, as the board manual says, we are to direct policies. You know, like Michael said, we could give input on the survey, get it approved, and then you execute.
Because the last one we did, Lynn and I tag teamed that with some of his
Stats. Yeah.
stats that he has. And I think it worked very well. So I think, you know, if we want to go that route, we can set up, you know, a survey committee once, you know, at a meeting, hey, we're thinking about this survey. You and you take, or you and me, or you and me, or you and me, or Michael and me, or Stephanie and me, take that on.
Whatever it falls along committee lines.
Yeah.
Maybe input on the direction of that survey, how it's worded, the verbiage and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then the board is, you know, helping with some of that burden, but they're not necessarily, you know.
Pushing the limits of what the board rules are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe it would be is that an SOP for you guys? Does it need to be an SOP?
I just want to quickly state too.
Go ahead and put my list.
I just want to quickly state, like, this isn't some, and this is where, like, this doesn't have to take place on every single decision we make, like the excavator. I don't feel like needs to go out for public survey. I think it's understood. I just wanted to make that comment that the board is in place to make decisions representing the public. I'm
Yeah.
talking on the grand projects, the meat and potato stuff, the big stuff.
Like, adding a port. What do the residents want to see for a port?
Right, exactly.
That would take a survey, me buying a trailer, the whole thing would, that doesn't need a survey, that's a yes or no from the board, and why I need this trailer for.
Which
X, Y, and
trash
Z.
collector we go with.
Okay, any other comments before we close out the agenda? No? It is 6:57 and I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, this is Lionel seconded.
And Lena seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 It's unanimous. Thank you everyone for attending and for your input.